This video looks at vocabulary, the basic building blocks of a language. English has more than 1 billion words, and every day new words are being invented. You already know many words in English, possibly thousands of words, but what does it mean to actually know a word? And what is the best way to remember and learn new words? Knowing a word is very complex, and it involves many things such as knowing the meaning, the part of speech, its prefixes and suffixes, its grammar, collocation, register, spelling and pronunciation. Let's look at each of these areas in more detail. Of course, we first need to know what a word means, but sometimes a word has many different meanings. Consider, for example, the word trunk. An elephant has a trunk, so does a car and a tree. We can also pack a trunk and even wear them when swimming. So we need to pay close attention to the context of a word in order to understand its meaning. Another example of a word with many meanings that you will find in academics is the word study. As a noun, this can mean the work of a student, or a home office, or it can refer to a published piece of research. It can also be a verb. This takes us to our next point, a word's part of speech. In some grammar books, this is called word class. It means knowing if a word is a noun, adjective, verb, or an adverb. Knowing a word's part of speech helps you understand how to use that word in a sentence. For example, the word active is an adjective, and its adverb form is actively. So we can say he is a very active person, but not he is a very actively person. We can also take a word like active, and by using prefixes and suffixes, make many other words, such as the verbs activate, reactivate, and deactivate, or the nouns activity and activation. Prefixes are the additional parts at the beginning of a word. They usually change the meaning. Suffixes are the additions at the end of a word. They usually change a word's part of speech. The use of suffixes is important in academic texts because we often make verbs into nouns. This is called nominalization. Watch the video about academic vocabulary for more information about this. Another important part of knowing a word is knowing its grammar. For example, many verbs are followed by particular grammatical patterns. Consider the words suggest in these sentences. Are all 3 sentences correct? Number 1 and number 3 are correct, but number 2 is not. We don't use the word suggest followed by a to plus infinitive pattern. Another aspect of a word's grammar is the prepositions that it is used with. Many words are followed by a preposition. For example, depend on, increase in, based on, responsible for. It's important to be aware of these patterns. Also, watch the video on countability for more on the grammar of a word. Words often have close relationships with one another. For example, we say happy birthday and Merry Christmas, but we can't say Merry Birthday. The words merry and birthday don't collocate. Collocation describes the strong relationship between certain words. Other examples are make a decision, but not do a decision, and strong coffee, but not powerful coffee. There are many collocations in English, and it is important that you compare English collocations to collocations in your own language. The register of a word is particularly important in academic writing. Register refers to a word's level of formality. Is it appropriate for formal, neutral, or informal situations? For example, the word kids would not be appropriate in academic writing, as it is an informal word, and it would generally be better to use the word children or students. Similarly, Progeny is a more formal word and is not appropriate for most situations. Of course, spelling is very important. Incorrect spelling gives a bad impression, especially in academic and professional contexts. See the video on punctuation and spelling for more on this topic. Finally, we need to know how to pronounce the word. It is a good idea to learn some basic phonetic script so that you can read the correct pronunciation in a dictionary. Phonetic script is shown between slanted lines like this. The phonetic transcript also shows us which syllables are stressed, often shown like this. Note that a word's part of speech sometimes affects its syllable stress, such as import for a verb and import for a noun. So, what is the best way to learn new words? We tend to forget about 80% of what we have learnt within 24 hours. So one key strategy is to keep reviewing the word over a period of time and keep testing yourself. There are a number of very good online flashcard systems that can help you do this, or you can create your own. To be able to revise and test yourself, you also need to keep very good vocabulary notes. A good way to do this is to have a book that you use only for noting vocabulary. It is important to make sure that when you write down new words, you add all of the information that we have talked about in this video. The word's meaning, part of speech, any prefixes or suffixes, grammar, collocation, register, spelling and pronunciation. If you do this, you'll find that your vocabulary will grow and you will be using the words with a lot more success. Try some of the practice activities below and also look at the related videos about academic vocabulary, countability and punctuation and spelling.